Welcome into ACC football and beyond this on Scout's Eye on college football. Brought to you by the Off the Hook Sports YouTube network and the Landry Football Podcast Network. We invite you to subscribe, like, and share all of those. We've got a lot to get into. We're going to talk about NC State and how that matchup as they kind of took care of Connecticut, how they may shape up against Clemson. Clemson with a big win, finding their offense. What a great game that was, Clemson, Wake Forest. Pitt gets back on track with Keaton Slovis coming back from an injury. Florida State moves to 4-0 for the first time since 2015 with a big win over a struggling Boston College team. Jordan Travis has been pretty good this year. We're going to get into that. And the Drew Pine era, we always talk Notre Dame in the ACC. Yeah, they're ACC plus Notre Dame. Drew Pine is playing pretty well. Of course, playing North Carolina's defense can make any offense look good. They certainly made Notre Dame's offense look pretty good. The defense is a problem. The Jeff Collins tenure at Georgia is over as they lose to Central Florida. We warned you last week that could be the case if they lost this game. Malik Cunningham threw and ran past South Florida was the big difference there. Syracuse is 4-0 for the first time since 2018 with that 22-20 win over Virginia. The Orange actually led at 16-0 at halftime, but ended up needing to get a field goal with just over a minute left to win. Are they that good? We're going to get into that and kind of tell you about all the teams. Want to remind you, though, that you can get detailed film room analysis of all the games, all the teams in the ACC, every other conference, as well as the NFL over at LandryFootball.com. Take advantage of the football season sale. It's the best deal we got going. It's $69 for a year. You could try it for 6 months, $39.99. If you want to try it for a month, that's $9.99. Look, you can get access to your own coaching and scouting department for less than a magazine subscription. You can't do better than that. So we encourage you to check it out. And again, I'd like to ask you to, if you like this show, if you're an ACC football fan, sign up for ACC football and beyond if you would. Subscribe, like, and share. If you're a fan of another conference, of the SEC, the Big Ten, the Big 12, the Pac-12, whatever, sign up for those SEC football and beyond, etc., and subscribe, like, and share. Sign up for the Landry Football Podcast Network. You get it all. You get all the college stuff, all the NFL stuff. We got it all for you. And the Off the Hook Sports YouTube channel is where you can watch us do this show. And certainly we encourage you to participate and give your feedback. So if you would do that. A lot of stuff that we like to bring to you. A reminder, too, we do cover the Group of Five. We have on the Landry Football Podcast Network, you can get that show as well as the Off the Hook Sports YouTube channel. So we don't keep out the Group of Five guys. We talk about them. So let's get into it. Clemson and NC State, they picked up nice wins this weekend. And we're going to kind of go into each of the teams and kind of how they stack up at this point. But DJU really had a breakout game against a Wake Forest defense that's not very good. But, boy, that they do a good job throwing the football. Do they have enough weapons at receiver, Clemson, I'm talking about, to go deep? I mean, win the conference, yes. Beyond that, not sure. We'll see. But a very impressive performance, an exciting game, them against Wake Forest. And NC State didn't have much of a resistance this week against Connecticut. But what a showdown at Clemson. Really good one. One of the better games that I'm going to be featuring over at LandryFootball.com this week. The offense has gotten better at Clemson. I think they're becoming more confident. NC State's a tough team. They're a physical team. They are really good defensively. I don't know if NC State has enough offense here. They are not playing well enough on offense. The bad news in the league, what a disastrous game with Miami. Tough loss to Middle Tennessee. They were not ready to play. It looked like A&M beat them twice. And North Carolina's defense couldn't stop anything against Notre Dame. And so it was a mess. So how does it look? We know that Clemson's the best-looking team. They were really effective. I'm impressed with what their defense has been most of the year. I was not impressed with how they stepped up situationally against Wake, but I didn't think they performed very well when watching the tape defensively. I thought they had some trouble defending Wake. But what I always tell people, if you're going to be a really good team at the NFL level or the college level, you got to win in multiple ways. I call it the toolbox factor. If you got to have multiple tools in your toolbox and multiple ways to win games, because if somebody slows down your offense or penetrates your defense, can you score enough on offense? Can you make stops on defense? Can you make plays on special teams? Can you protect the football? Can you create turnovers? I mean, what is it that you can do other than your strength? And I thought this was an impressive performance at that Clemson answered the bell every time Sam Hartman drove down the field. So there is a positive there, and I'm very curious. I do think they match up pretty well against NC State, but we shall see. NC State, I think this is the two best teams in the league right now. They played well against Texas Tech. We know what the Red Raiders did at home last week against Texas. They get their final tune-up, had their final tune-up with Connecticut. A win would put them in the driver's seat in the Atlantic, but, I don't think this NC State team is good enough to pull an upset, but I don't think they're good enough to run the table and win the conference and be in the national playoffs. I think this team is going to have a great game from Devin Leary. This offense is going to have to click on all cylinders, particularly in the passing game. I think the defense can keep them in the game, but I think the offense is going to have to ultimately win it for them. Florida State. If I'm looking at the teams, looking at the third best team, I'd say Florida State. Pitt's been dealing with injuries. Florida State has as well. Big win against BC. Not very good. Obviously, they still got the win over LSU at the beginning of the year. How good is this team? I'm not sure that they're that good. But I think that they're playing more fundamentally sound games. They're not beating themselves like in the past. So I think that they're in a better position. They're recruiting pretty well. What a big get for them. Before the weekend, they landed a top 25 player in the country in the class of 2023 in wide receiver Hakeem Williams, a guy that everybody wanted. That's big for them. So it's a good sign. They're in good position. I put them kind of in that next tier. Pitt would be in that group as well. They got Keaton Slovis back. They played very well against Rhode Island, and Rhode Island moved the football a little bit better on Pitt than I thought they would. Pitt gashed Rhode Island. Look, Pitt can run the football, and I think they've got a good defensive front. That's going to keep them in most games. I think they're really good. I think they're probably the third best team ultimately in the league. I think Florida State, though, deserves consideration right now. Look, Wake is, I think, better than Syracuse. But let's talk a little bit about the Orange at this point. Dino Babers is facing pressure. They're finding ways to win. They're not overly impressive. I don't even think they're playing to their strength. They're just getting good play in the passing game, and they're creating some turnovers on defense. They've been aided by a weak schedule. But, folks, they're 4-0. And that's something. That's a big something. I think Wake is better than they are. They can score a bunch of points. I don't think their defense is that good. But I think in a matchup, they probably beat Syracuse. We'll see. We'll see how this plays out. Wake's really good offense. I just love studying their offense. I think they do a tremendous job with their look. Duke, nice job. They played Kansas well, but they can get to a bowl game. They're 3-1. They play pretty good defense. They're doing a better job offensively than I thought they might. Riley Leonard's been pretty effective for them. Got to protect the football, and that was maybe the key in the game against Kansas. North Carolina, they can score against anybody, but my God, this defense is abysmal. And you wonder if they're going to get better at any point anytime soon. It's a real big problem. Louisville, 41-3 win over South Florida. It's a big win under Scott Satterfield. He needs to have a good year. I don't know if they're going to pull the trigger on him, but if he if he struggles and flames out towards the end of the year, they're going to get a little shaky there about what they might want to do and where they might want to go. Miami, look, that's a team that was overrated going into the year, but that has nothing to do with the game against Middle Tennessee. That is a cultural issue, a cultural problem, an identity problem, a focus problem, a discipline problem. Okay. No, Miami is not as good as people think. No, the hype is not real. It's not indicative of what they are and what they can be. It's not. It's a slow build and a slow growth. But now it's when you lose a game like that to Middle, it tells me that you are not prepared emotionally, mentally, and culturally to deal with your business. You get beat by A&M. They didn't score a touchdown. A&M's not that good. You could have won the game, but you didn't get it done. And so what do? You pout. You kind of let go of the rope a little bit. And all of a sudden, Middle throws the football all up and down your defense. They absolutely killed them. They benched Taylor Van Dyke for Jake Garcia. Now, where does that put them? Where they are. I mean, I think that was a difficult loss because that is a loss that if you're going to test the character of the locker room, and I think that's either going to turn it around positively or they're going to have one hellaciously bad season that they're going to have to pick up the pieces to and have to build off of. It's fine to be talking about NIL. It's fine to be talking about a great booster setup to where you could put a great collective together. It doesn't mean a hill of beans if you don't have good character, good culture, and Mario's got to fix that and fix that early here. Virginia just fell short of picking up the best win of the season Friday against Syracuse. They had every bit of a chance. Look, they look about the same as Syracuse. But Brennan Armstrong wasn't real effective. They got Duke next. This is a winnable game, but I don't know. Duke is playing a little bit better, and I trust them a little more. I'd go it, and I'd put Virginia Tech. Losing at home to West Virginia is not the worst thing, but Virginia Tech was manhandled by West Virginia. And they've got only 2 wins. BC team, that's bad. Wofford, this is a big rebuild over there. BC, they really are bad looking, and they're really struggling. They're not protecting Phil Dracovic a great deal. It's going to be hard to get, back on track to where they even got a shot at a bowl game. And then I would put Georgia Tech at the bottom. I think that they are in worse shape because, obviously they're going to go with Brent Key as the interim coach. They've got to have a restructure of how they're going to look at this program, how they're going to build it. But it's a tough situation. Georgia Tech has no offensive ingenuity whatsoever. Really a poor job. And I thought Jeff Collins would do a better job. It's just been a mess over there. No question about it. Hey, folks, a reminder that we're going to preview all the games on the Landry Football Podcast Network later in the week, all the ACC games this weekend in greater detail. So we'll have that for you. But also a reminder, you can get more detailed film room breakdowns of all of these games as well as all of the games in college football over at LandryFootball.com. Take advantage of the football season sale. And make sure that you sign up for this podcast, ACC Football and Beyond, or whatever is your favorite conference podcast. That's SEC Football and Beyond, Big Ten Football and Beyond, Pac-12 Football and Beyond, Big 12 Football and Beyond. Subscribe, like, and share. If you sign up for the Landry Football Podcast Network, you can get all of the shows, college football shows, NFL shows. You can get it all. We've got it for you. If you sign up for the Off the Hook Sports YouTube channel, you can catch this show as we tape it live for you. You can watch us do this show and check us in the Landry Football Lab and see how we all do it here. So, and we appreciate you joining us, and we'll talk to you on another edition, breaking down more games in another conference. We'll talk to you next time, everybody.